Penny no longer makes sense. Interesting. Greetings and welcome back to Christian News and Views. This is episode 77, and today we're going to be looking at an article that's in the paper that, right down here, right there, penny no longer makes sense, and that's President Trump saying that. So we're going to take a look at that. Now, I've said in the past that I always agree with Trump on things, and I'm still thinking about this one. So let's go into this and look at it. So while we're doing that, I'm going to take a little drink here just to keep my throat wet. So this is Associated Press, so remember, always read between the lines and remember to try to keep anything, if there's anything negative that comes up uh, about Trump, we, uh, we need to read between the lines and understand there is a bias here. The lowly penny, the forgotten mainstay of coin jars and car cup holders everywhere, may soon be no more. Now, I'm going to underline that because I just saw something there that I want to point out. President Donald Trump announced Sunday he's ordered his administration to cease production of the 1 cent coin, whose buying power is long past its prime. Advocates for ditching the penny cite its high production costs, currently almost 4 cents per penny according to the U.S. Mint, and limited utility. Fans of the penny cite its usefulness in charity drives and relative bargain in production costs compared with the nickel, which costs almost 14 cents to mint. Trump's surprise order comes after decades of unsuccessful efforts to pitch the penny. Only tradition explains our stubborn attachment to the penny, but sometimes traditions get ridiculous, the Farmer's Almanac said in its 1989 edition. Here's a look at some questions surrounding Trump's order. Can Trump really order the Treasury to stop minting pennies without Congress's approval? And here's the answer. Yes, according to legal scholar Lawrence H. Tribe, the Carl M. Loeb University Professor of Constitutional Law Emeritus at Harvard University. U.S. Code gives the Treasury Secretary the authority to mint and issue coins in amounts the Secretary decides are necessary to meet the needs of the United States. I'll turn here inside to continue this. If Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent decides the amount necessary for the penny is zero, he's within his legal rights, Tribe said. Unlike a lot of what the new administration has been doing pursuant to the flood of executive orders since January 20th, this action seems to me entirely lawful and fully constitutional, Tribe said, referring to the aggressive executive action Trump's taken on other issues since taking office. There's that little negative twist thrown in there. Congress, which dictates currency specifications like the size and metal content of coins, could make Trump's order permanent through law. But past congressional efforts to ditch the penny have failed. Pennies are mostly made of zinc, and the American Zinc Lobby has been a major opponent to suggestions that the penny be eliminated. Here's another one. How many pennies are in circulation? It depends on what you mean by circulation. Pennies are the most popular coin made by the U.S. Mint, which reported making $3.2 billion, making 3.2 billion of them last year. That's more than half of all the new coins it made last year. MIT professor Jeff Gore, who founded Citizens to Retire the Penny, said coins are supposed to stay in circulation for about 30 years, and that in the last 3 decades the U.S. Mint has made about 250 billion pennies. But, he says, because nobody wants to use pennies, they fall out of active circulation much faster than other coins. If pennies sit if pennies sit in drawer for a decade, Gore asks, does that qualify as being in circulation? So we're going to get to my opinion, and I'm going to answer that last question emphatically and immediately. Yes. It's in circulation if it has not been retired, if it has not been returned to the banks and retired by them. It's just common sense. If I have pennies here, they're still in circulation, so they're still valid, they're still usable, and I can use them whenever I want to. So they're in. That's a stupid question in my opinion. Just because they're not floating out there and being trading back and forth does not mean that they're not in circulation. The fact, if I don't even know if I have, I think I do have some pennies, and there's, as far as I'm concerned, they're in circulation because I could go in and get them, go to the store, go to this restaurant, and say I'm going to pay cash, and I may need to have pennies. So let's just take a closer look at this whole thing. Now, I began this by saying that I might disagree, and I've mentioned that in the past that there may be times I disagree with the president. This may be one of them. I'm not saying it is. I'm still thinking about it, and I will close this with maybe an idea or a thought. But so while it is true that we live in a credit card economy, not everybody uses credit cards. Some prefer to pay in cash. When you go to the store to purchase items, it is not unusual for the total price to end up less than or more than a nickel. That means pennies. And I have been in line and see people pull coins out and use them. So if they're going to choose to use pennies, to pay in cash, they're going to need pennies simply because of taxes. The store owner might put out a price that may not end in pennies, may end in say 5 cents. Retail usually has something end in 99 cents. Well, if it ends in 99 cents, folks, and you're paying in cash, pennies are involved. And that's a marketing technique, by the way, that people have used for generations. It's people think that way. You go to the gas station, it says the price is $3 and $3.09. But actually, if you look at the price, it's not $3.09. It's $3 or 3.0999 a lot of times, or 3.9 something else. What happens is that when people are pulling into that gas station, they don't see the 99s. They don't say it's $3.09 and 99, whatever. So a person pulls in the gas pump. They look at the price, and in their mind, they either say $3.09 or $3.10. Most likely they're going to say $3.09. Well, you round it off, it's going to be $3.10. That's me. I tend to round up when I see those prices. But a lot of people round down. They just do it on subconsciously. And so they're thinking they're paying $3.09. But it don't work out that way. When you actually sit down and look at the math, it's far closer, far. It's only a penny difference, less than a penny difference usually, when they actually tally it up. But we'll just say a penny's difference. So I would think that doing away with a penny would really create some havoc in a lot of different areas. Now maybe they have a plan for doing something about that. I do not know. This article didn't cover anything like that. But the penny may not be as powerful as it once was, but it is still an important piece of the whole pie, simply because taxes and other things will cause the cost to go into, the way I put it is it either goes less than a nickel or more than a nickel. And if either one of those takes place, you have to have pennies. So you walk into a store and maybe well, I buy pop right now. The price of I think it's 1 liter bottle is $1. But that's not what I pay when I go to the cash register and run it through. I'm paying probably let's see, it's what is it, $1.04, $1.08? I forget what the rate is right now, but it's more than $1. The cost simply is that point includes the tax, and so you just have to. I don't see how they can do it quickly. Now, this could lead to something else, which I'll get to. But I don't know how many people still pay in cash. But I do know I've seen people do it. I've stood in line behind them, and they dig into their pocket and pull out their money, and they have to count the coins out. And I've done it myself. I've gone and thought, well, I'm going to spend cash today. Maybe I didn't have a whole lot available for one reason or another on my credit card or my bank account or whatever. So, but I had cash, and so I decided to pay cash. I think it's a good idea to always keep some cash on you if you can. Uh, but I've done it myself, and probably you have done it yourself, paid in cash. And you look back, and very rarely do you ever end up even, like a dollar or 10 cents, or uh, how about 15 cents, 20 cents? A lot of times it comes up to 11 cents, 12 cents, 13 cents, 19 cents, 99 cents. So the thing is, I just think that this would be a major disruption more than what they're saying. Especially if a lot of people, you don't have to be the majority of people, it just needs to be enough minority numbers, minor numbers, if you will, people. Let's just say only 20-30% of the people use pennies. That's when you put that to the millions of people that live in this country, that's a lot of people. And that's a lot of pennies. So I suspect this is a great number. Moreover, as mentioned in the article, pennies play a big role in charities. Children are encouraged at an early age to give. That's a good thing to encourage. Here's a couple of examples. Tithing. Many parents, Christian parents, they want their kids to grow up knowing that they get things. What they're getting in life is not something that they have earned, that they deserve. It's because God has provided for them. And so you tithe. You give 10% of your allowance back to the Lord. He lets you keep 90%, you give 10%. That's a teaching ministry. And parents after parents after parents have done that. They may use dimes, nickels and dimes, but a lot of times they use pennies. Why? It's a very inexpensive tool to use. How about charities? Again, you have children's charities, but you also have adult charities. And pennies, penny rolls, different ways of doing that. In Vacation Bible School, I've worked in a Vacation Bible School in the past, and they would have kids. They have their contests, and they would have where they put money into the buckets, and a lot of times that's pennies, mostly pennies. Now they'll put quarters and nickels and dimes in. Another thing is, recently I was involved in one which they had these bricks. They were actually painted. Some were gold, some were silver, and they had a arbitrary value. The gold was worth so many dollars. the silver was so many dollars less than the gold, obviously. So, and so they would put them in. They wouldn't really weigh the bucket down. But the thing is, they had to pay for those. And again, they used pennies, nickels, dimes, the whole works. So pennies are a teaching tool, if for no other reason. They'll teach your children to give, to have a heart towards charity, not just church. Charities outside the church. Charities giving and helping other people in your neighborhood and people you run into, to teach kids to think of helping others. A lot of times those pennies go from the parent to the child, then out. Now, in some cases, it may be they have an allowance they get, and they're taught to give out of their allowance. That's another thing. So pennies play an important role. They are needed. Perhaps it should be, now here I'm getting to where I'm coming up with an idea here. I haven't really thought this out. It's just something that has occurred to me while reading this article. And so you might shoot it down right off the bat. But here's the thought. Perhaps you get rid of the penny, but you phase it out rather than an abrupt ending. This article is suggesting to me, anyhow, an abrupt ending. I think it should be phased out if it's going to happen. This would give time for charities and churches and so forth to adjust, because that would have a major impact on them. But the truth is that pennies provide an easy and an inexpensive way to teach children, as I've already said a couple of times already, not only to give, but also to budget and to shop. How many of you women out there who have children and daughters have taken your daughters with you and you've taught them how to shop? You may have a son that you've taught him how to shop. I don't remember much about my childhood. I don't remember going with my mom to the store, but I'm pretty sure she did drag me along. My sister would have gone. And that is a way of preparing children for adulthood and teaching them how to shop, teaching them how to budget. These are things that I think are important. And so let's not forget these are not something, they'll just have to adjust. No, these are important. It's important that children, learn some things. And to do it with a nickel, yeah, they can do it with a nickel, but that's 5 times as expensive as a penny. Figure it out. A nickel is worth 5 pennies, so it's 5 times expensive. So the thing is that yes, it may not be the major tool that it once was, the major buying power it once had, but it still has some use. So I think a lot more thought should go into this. I think that if they're going to do it, phase it out. Now, I think that puts me a little bit at odds with the president, because it sounds like he wants to do away with it right off the bat. So, but I think that when it gets to Congress, maybe there should be a phase-out plan introduced. Just not only charities, but parents can think it out and apply it. Not some emergency. Oh, we can no longer use pennies. We better go do something else. Let's give them a chance to think this out and come up with some solutions. Because 5 times a nickel as opposed to a penny may not sound like much. When you start multiplying it and using it for the different areas that we talked about, like budgeting and shopping and things of this nature, it can add up. So that's just my opinion. I would like to hear your comments on that. What do you think about the penny? Should it be eliminated in the first place? And if so, should it be abrupt or phased out? Excuse me. So, do you enjoy this show? This podcast? Do you enjoy just hearing my explanations, my opinions. I'm bringing forth a Christian view, not a doctrinal view so much, but a Christian view, Christian worldview, in which I come in and look at the news from that viewpoint. If you enjoy this, then please subscribe right down below here. Excuse me. So just subscribe down below here, and also leave a comment. I enjoy getting your comments, and so please give them. And there's a benefit to this, because by subscribing, you not only get this Christian news and views, but you also get becoming a published author is fun. This is a podcast that I put out twice a week. If you are thinking of being a writer or author, I give advice you can use right away, and it's free. I don't charge you for anything of this. I just give it. And so I talk about all different aspects of being an author. For instance, the one this week is about banking. Banking and actually being a business person. And so you may never even considered that. Well, I talk about it. So that's, if you're interested in being an author, that's a podcast. That's an interesting free podcast that you can get, free advice that shouldn't cost you any money or a very little money to implement. So you encourage me also when you subscribe. And you know what, it's not only encourages me to continue, but it encourages me to do all in my power to create episodes that will inform, encourage you, and inspire you. So that's why I encourage you to subscribe. You can also follow me. So do one or the other or both. And then that way you'll not miss any of my podcasts. And by the way, I'm learning as I'm going. Like I said, I started this particular podcast this year. I believe I started the other podcast last year. And so it's just something it's ongoing. It's something I'm excited about. But I am learning. The whole idea of podcasts is new to me, although I've done radio in the past of a sort. So we will wrap this up now, and I will see you in the next episode. You have a great day.